SHIELD helicarrier, somewhere over the North Atlantic Ocean, May 12, 2012. Nick Fury, director of SHIELD, sat in his office aboard the SHIELD helicarrier, the contents of a manila folder spread out on top of his desk, the glossy images of several young girls with nearly identical faces staring up at him from amongst a pile of black and white documents. If it weren't for the distinct scars on their faces, and the fact that one of them was obviously an albino, then the pictures might have all been taken of the same person at different ages. Nick spared a moment to turn his eye to Natasha Romanoff, who stood at parade rest in front of his desk, unable to sit down herself due to the fact that he had the rest of the chairs in his office removed before calling her in for this meeting. They had both been in this game long enough to make such an act childish, but he figured he owed her a little discomfort after the mess that just landed in his lap because of her. "You mean to tell me that you have no idea why this Laura Kinney knew to have her mother contact you for help?" he asked his senior agent. "That is correct, sir," Natasha admitted. Her 4 clones all have an exact copy of her memories, up to the night before her mother had her attack the facility. None of them seem to have the extra knowledge the original obviously possesses, nor do they have any idea where she might have gone to receive the training she described in her emails. There was a moment of silence as Nick stared at her, his single eye pinning her in place, before turning back down to the stack of documents sitting in front of him. Flipping back through the report, he got to a set of grainy pictures taken from CCTV camera footage captured from numerous airports across the globe, which were paper-clipped to a proposed list of flights matching the times and locations. A trail that unfortunately ended at the Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi, India, due to a lack of sufficient camera coverage. "So what you mean to tell me is that we have a trained assassin, with the same mutation as Wolverine, and knowledge of classified information on one of my senior agents, and we have no idea what their motives are, or how they got hold of this information in the first place?" Nick asked. "Yes, sir," Natasha agreed, her eyes staring blankly at the metal bulkhead behind her boss. He let out a heavy sigh, before pulling out the most recent picture they had of the girl from the folder, her emerald green eyes staring blankly up at him from the glossy photo. Placing the picture down next to those of her 4 clone sisters and their mother, he took a moment to examine them as a whole. "At least there's some good news with all of this," he admitted, pulling out the printout of the last email the girl in question had sent her sister. "Sir?" Natasha questioned. "She seems to have a great deal of respect for you," Nick told her. "You were the very first person she thought of when it came to finding someone to help her family. Not only that, but the moment she read the news about the Battle of New York, she made sure to let her mother know to wait before contacting, in order to give you time to recover. Which only added to the risk that something would happen to her family." He slid the email around so that it was facing Natasha, pointing at the line of text he wanted her to read. "We also know that she has knowledge about your past, including at least some rumor of what you went through during your own training," he continued. "She's trusting you with not only the physical safety of her family, but the mental and emotional health of her sisters." "She must not know me very well," Natasha muttered, thinking of all the red she still had left in her ledger. "I wonder if she knows you better than you think," Nick thought to himself as he examined the woman standing in front of him. "There's more than one way I can make this work out in our favor, and maybe even gain a valuable asset for the Avengers program. I think we're going to play along, for now," Nick decided, leaning back in his chair. "Her sisters are too young to be of any use to us out in the field, but between their healing factors and the training they've already received, they hold great potential. Their mother's experience as a geneticist, and hands-on knowledge of the Weapon X program, could also be useful in the future, if we can convince her to work with us." "That shouldn't be a problem," Natasha agreed. "Dr. Kinney has already voiced interest in working for SHIELD. Her main concern is the safety and happiness of her daughters." "Good," Nick nodded. Nick leaned forward for a moment to grab the group picture that Clint Barton had taken of Natasha and the Kinney girls the day before, his trained eye picking out the same subtle visual cues that Laura had the day before. "We're going to keep their existence completely off the books," Nick told her. "Whenever you're not on an active mission, I want you watching over the Kinneys, help keep them safe, and give the daughters whatever training you deem appropriate. They already know that the world is a dangerous place, and we're some of the only people out there that can help them. I still want them to have that opinion when Laura returns to her family to help cure her sisters of their trigger scent." "Understood, sir," Natasha nodded. "Will this be a solo mission?" "For the most part," Nick replied, "though I might have Hawkeye stop by on occasion to help with the training. I understand that one of the sisters, Paris, has shown interest in learning what he can teach her about how to use a bow. She was constantly bugging him about it," Natasha confided, a smirk tugging at her lips. He couldn't decide between bursting with pride that someone finally recognizes how great bows are, or pulling out his hair because she just wouldn't leave him alone. Well, let's hope he doesn't lose too much hair, Nick joked, running a hand over the top of his own bald head. Now, as far as Laura goes, I want you to try and get some more information on this training she's receiving. Don't press her too hard, we don't want to alienate her, but I need to know if I have to worry about her going around brainwashing people like Loki did with that staff of his. On the other hand, if it only allows her to help clear out brainwashing and mental programming like she's claimed so far, then there is a lot of good she can do with a skill like that. Yes, sir, Natasha nodded, momentarily haunted by the memory of when her best friend had attacked her while under that mind control. I'll try to learn as much as I can without upsetting her. Good, Nick nodded in return, before piling the contents of the report back into the manila folder and closing it, revealing the words, "Eyes Only," stamped on the front in red. Nobody other than Hawkeye is cleared to know of their existence, not even the other members of the Avengers. This is a very sensitive issue, and it could blow up in all of our faces if someone gets the wrong idea and blabs about it. There are enough groups out there trying to create super soldiers, without it getting out that someone managed to somehow make 5 of them at the same time. With that, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. took the only copy of the report on the Kinney family, and placed it in a locked drawer in his desk, where it joined a number of other eyes-only documents. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.